The foundation of this discussion is Singapore's bold commitment to digital education. In 2020, the Ministry of Education began its phased rollout of the Personal Learning Device, or PLD. This initiative aims to equip every secondary school student with a device, creating a one-to-one computing environment across the nation. Launched to foster 21st-century learners, the PLD was positioned as a key strategy for strengthening digital literacy and enhancing equity in the digital age. When the rollout occurred, it was celebrated as a milestone, a leap into the digital future. Technology promised equality, innovation, and empowerment. But what if our excitement says more about our faith in progress than about teaching itself? As McLuhan once observed, the medium is the message. And perhaps today, our message is that technology itself has become the curriculum. Across policy documents and classrooms, a single message is constant. Digital transformation equals educational transformation. We've learned to equate innovation with improvement and connectivity with curiosity. The assumption seems simple: more devices mean more learning. Yet this reflects what new media theorists call a functional view of literacy, mastering tools rather than questioning the systems that produce them. Classrooms tell a more complicated story than the policy documents suggest. Despite the best intentions, the prevailing practice is often defined by friction and student frustration. The students themselves, as shown in online forums, are actively resisting the control system. One forensic account detailed how simple hacks, such as exploiting sleep mode or using Google Docs to embed YouTube videos, completely bypass the restrictive device management controls. The push for digital obedience is constantly undermined by digital ingenuity. This device friction then translates into a profound relational burden at home. Parents, trying to enforce rules, are forced into digital detective roles. One mother famously lamented feeling like 007, detailing how her son used a decoy iPad cover to hide the real device, even hiding in the bathroom to play games. Another parent recounted the repeated cycle of lost trust when their child found ways to reset parental controls. The solution, intended to enhance learning, is instead affecting family relationships and diverting attention from academic growth to the management of a persistent security threat. Furthermore, the quality of implementation undercuts the promise of equity. Reports of these devices failing within 2 to 3 years, with black bars on screens, persistent lag, and system crashes, contradict the narrative of sustained access. When these costly devices are rarely used for anything beyond quick Kahoot quizzes or simple group typing, the prevailing perception shifts from transformation to frustration. Singapore's EdTech Master Plan 2030 sets an inspiring vision: to nurture digitally empowered 21st-century learners who are self-directed, collaborative, and connected. Yet its language also mirrors a global shift described in literacy research. This is where the line must be drawn. We critique this techno-solutionist framing because it risks reducing learning to a measurable transaction, privileging efficiency and implementation metrics, a core problem of the human capital logic driving global EdTech. This framing narrows education to productivity rather than possibility. Strong critique and contrast: does digital transformation automatically mean educational transformation? Or have we begun to equate progress with the presence of technology itself? This year's National Day rally echoed similar hopes and anxieties. The Prime Minister warned that children risk losing touch with reality when overly immersed online, and that over-reliance on AI tools like ChatGPT could erode independent thinking. He urged a careful balance, protecting youth from harm while equipping them to harness technology's benefits. It is a sensible message, yet it rests on a familiar faith: that our task is to fine-tune how we use technology rather than re-examine why we place such trust in it. Technological progress remains the unquestioned horizon, shaping not only our classrooms but our collective imagination. Our rush toward digitalization reveals a more profound conviction: that every educational challenge has a technological solution. But as socio-cultural theorists like Neil Selwyn remind us, learning is relational, mediated through community and culture. True new media literacy demands not just functional skill but critical awareness of how technologies shape participation and power. The alternative to solutionism is a pedagogy of design. Here, learners use technology not as a static receiver of knowledge, but as a studio for meaning-making. This approach, advocated by multiliteracies theorists, demands that students design solutions, curate knowledge, or critique media, thereby shifting their role from mere consumer to active prosumer. Post-digital educators warn that techno-solutionism replaces reflection with rollout, mistaking connectivity for community, and access for agency. Our rush toward digitalization reveals a deeper conviction that every educational challenge has a technological solution. But as socio-cultural theorists like Neil Selwyn remind us, learning is relational, mediated through community and culture. True new media literacy demands not just functional skill but critical awareness of how technologies shape participation and power. The alternative to solutionism is a pedagogy of design. Here, learners use technology not as a static receiver of knowledge, but as a studio for meaning-making. This approach, advocated by multiliteracies theorists, demands that students design solutions, curate knowledge, or critique media, thereby shifting their role from mere consumer to active prosumer. Post-digital educators warn that techno-solutionism replaces reflection with rollout, mistaking connectivity for community, and access for agency. Singapore's education system is rightly admired for its adaptability. But real progress is not measured by the number of devices deployed. It lives in how deeply students think, question, and connect. Every school may be a good school, but not every good school must be digital. If our national pledge calls us to build a democratic society based on justice and equality, then equality of devices cannot replace equity of experience. The human dimensions of trust, empathy, and curiosity must remain central to any digital vision. In McLuhan's terms, our media are never neutral, they reshape our senses, our rhythms, and our relationships. Perhaps it is time to slow down and reassert the human in the digital. Techno-solutionism comforts us with the illusion of improvement. But education is not a software problem to be patched, it is a human practice to be cultivated. In creating this digital story, I take the stance of a critical prosumer, using new media not to glorify innovation, but to question the ideologies driving it. The critical line we draw is simple. We shift the focus from digital obedience to digital empowerment. The question is no longer how technology can fix education, but what vision of learning we genuinely wish to advance. If we reject techno-solutionism, what is one concrete pedagogical practice, beyond the device, that you believe genuinely promotes digital equity and critical literacy? Digital progress must serve human purpose, not replace it.